Honestly, I grew up playing literally everything, and I was super competitive, so my parents kind of just tossed me out there and wanted me to like get my energy out, whether it was soccer, softball, golf, track. I really did it all. And then when I got into high school, I kind of knew basketball was my future, and I loved it, and I wanted to practice it, and I think that's what was different. I like wanted to get better at it. I wanted to spend time working on my game, and that was probably what set that apart from all the other sports I played. They were just kind of like for fun with my friends. I was really competitive about it, but I didn't take extra time out of my day to go and work on my game and want to be better and be better than everybody else. So I think that's what kind of helped me figure out the path I wanted to take. And then I remember in high school, I played soccer and I was on varsity and I loved it, but my teammates would get mad because I would go and practice and work out and do basketball after school right before we had our soccer games, and they like couldn't believe that I was doing that. So I eventually had to give up soccer, even though I loved it, but I think it was just...
Caitlin Clark has always been a force to be reckoned with. But what we're seeing now is something else entirely. The WNBA has officially been put on notice. Clark isn't just leveling up her game, she's evolving into an unstoppable powerhouse.
Number 22,
I think this is a good excuse to miss school.
Absolutely, to see your sister do that. And Stokey posting up, but you know who they go to. 22! Abby Marshall, here comes Clark. How will she go for history?
The newest footage shows a Clark who's not just stronger, but downright dominant, and defenders have every reason to be seriously concerned. If you thought Clark was a threat before, get ready. It's about to get wild.
She has a day in that opportunity. Clark for three, rattles for her first deep shot.
She's no longer just the sharpshooter we've all come to admire. She's been hitting the gym, packing on serious muscle, and gearing up to take the league by storm in ways we've never imagined. This is the kind of transformation that turns stars into legends, and we're here to break it all down. But before we get into the nitty-gritty, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for all the latest WNBA updates and in-depth takes on the biggest stories rocking the league.
Bumps had a good night here tonight. Points, she and Jackie Young leading the way at Clark. Boston screen, fire away. Yep.
Remember last season? Caitlin Clark was already a generational scorer, torching defenses with her endless range and fearless shot making. But there was one major flaw: physicality.
Effect! Thank you very much. That's what 6'5" would do for you. I don't have that luxury. Nice give and go. Clark right at the cup. Rebound, back Vinley.
Futility from three for the Sparks. 0 for 9, and
stuck in the air there. Fact Bentley comes up with it. Here's Clark in transition where she's dangerous. Leaves it behind for...
Here's just 1 of 5.
How about Fact Bentley running the floor there? Go threes.
Yeah, they do. Nice concept, but it
won't go.
Defenders didn't hesitate to take advantage of her lean frame, bumping her off her spots, crowding her, and putting her in tough, uncomfortable positions.
Women's basketball has found its fame, and the reason for that is a 22-year-old playing in just her first WNBA season. Indiana Fever's point guard, Caitlin Clark, has already become the face of women's basketball, despite this being her debut year. To cap it off, Clark has won Rookie of the Year award, and she did that in some style, a unanimous choice of 66 of the 67 votes going in her favor. But it isn't just skill and accolades that make her the most popular face here on the basketball court. Clark's off-field antics.
Skeptics were loud. Could she handle the brutal physicality of the league? Was she just another college phenom who would falter against bigger, stronger, and faster opponents? Fast forward to now, and Clark has completely turned that narrative upside down. She didn't just accept the challenge, she went straight at it.
Which makes it a really good offensive.
Clark seeing direction, feeds Boston. Indiana has the advantage. And Boston trying to beat all their opponents for the first time since 2010. Clark shot fakes the three, feeds inside to Boston for two.
This offseason wasn't just about fine-tuning her already deadly jumper or sharpening her handles. It was about building a physique strong enough to stand toe-to-toe with the most physical defenders in the league. She made strength just as much of a priority as skill. And the results? Absolutely game-changing. Clark dove into an elite strength and conditioning program designed to pack on muscle without sacrificing the agility and explosiveness that make her a nightmare on the court. Trainers built a plan centered around core stability, lower body strength, and endurance, making sure she could take the hits and still finish strong. She fully embraced weightlifting, resistance training, and explosive movement drills, transforming herself into a more durable, battle-ready version of Clark.
Third quarter. Behind the back, Clark. A wide open shot. And wide open is Caitlin Clark, but she can't knock it down from up top. Tries it again from a different spot. That will connect.
The transformation is undeniable. She's stronger, more balanced, and now able to initiate contact instead of just taking it.
You know, looking at all these things that people are talking about with Caitlin Clark, it's like, guys, chill out. Like, she's gonna be fine. Like, it's 2 games in, are you kidding me? She's a student of the game, she got better every year. You're not going to just absorb all of the new information that's coming at you in 2 games, in 2 weeks. It takes time. And she will, I have no doubt about it. She's a student of the game, she continues to get better. And these are also points that coaches then address. Hey, let's continue to work on this, but it's really hard to work on some of those things in season. So this might be an off-season thing, right? Let's continue to play to our strengths, let's find different ways to get the ball to our players, and then when we get time in the off-season, then we'll work on that next step or that next level.
The days of defenders pushing Clark around are a thing of the past. Now, she's the one setting the tone. And it's not just the fans and analysts who've noticed. Her coach, Stephanie White, has confirmed it too.
A new sight on the court here at Carver Hawkeye Arena. That decal right at the spot where Caitlin hit that fall-away 3. the logo three to take the NCAA scoring record.
In a recent statement, White made it clear. Clark didn't just fine-tune her physique, she completely rebuilt it. This isn't a small tweak, it's a full-on evolution, and it's already having a massive impact on her game.
Play. It's up, it won't go down, and this building knows.
See Mitchell's going, what happened? For Caitlin, what a reaction by Kelsey.
Her arms are more defined, a clear testament to the hours of weight training she's put in. Her core is rock solid, keeping her balanced even when taking heavy hits. Her legs are built for explosive power, giving her that extra burst when driving to the rim and extending her shooting range beyond what was already elite. Clark has transformed herself into a physical powerhouse, and the results? Undeniable. The added strength is showing up everywhere in her game. She's attacking the basket with more power, finishing through contact instead of getting knocked off course. Defenders who once pushed her out of position are now the ones getting bounced back.
I guess he determined that Ariel Atkins had possession.
Clark, the switch on to Dolson, steps back.
Steph Dolson's in drop, and the screen is so...
14 from the field, but they've got a 5-point mark circling around. Sets up Samuelson, who's wide open and free.
Her three-point range has stretched even farther, thanks to the added power in her legs. But maybe the biggest change? Her defense. Clark can now stand her ground against bigger, stronger opponents, turning her into an even more dangerous two-way force.
Whenever I decide to go to the WNBA, I hope it's that same thing. I hope I can continue to grow the game. I hope we're playing in front of sold-out crowds. I hope more teams are added to the league. There's so many tremendous players that don't even get the opportunity to play in the league. So
the implications for the league are massive. A stronger Caitlin Clark isn't just a more lethal scorer. She's now a matchup nightmare for every team she faces. Physicality was the one weapon defenders had to try and slow her down. But with her transformation, that tool is completely off the table. Clark's added strength makes her even more dangerous. And now, opponents have to rethink everything. If she was already nearly unstoppable before, what does that make her now? Teams across the WNBA better start reworking their game plans, because the old strategies to contain her just became completely irrelevant. Every defender in the league will need to adjust, or they'll be left scrambling.
Please welcome to the show, Caitlin Clark. Caitlin, did you ever
What's
think
up,
you'd
guys?
be back? Cheers.
excited to be
Cheers.
back. Don't worry. I got this nice throwback theater can.
Well played.
Caitlin Clark just surprised everyone in a way no one expected, doing it live on Zoom during an unfiltered interview with WNBA icons Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi. From the moment she appeared on screen, it was obvious this wouldn't be your usual heartwarming segment. It was unvarnished, authentic, and gave a behind-the-scenes look at everything from her transition to the WNBA, to locker room gossip, to the intense rivalries in those tough college games. And, of course, it all came with Caitlin's trademark wit and charisma.
Product placement.
There we
Will
go.
Our show loves it. Our show loves it.
So, what exactly did Caitlin Clark spill, and why is the basketball world buzzing? Stick around, because Caitlin didn't hold back on a lot of juicy details. Everything from Paige Beckers to Diana Taurasi, and even calling out the unfounded rumors Cheryl Swoops has been spreading about the team. Ready for it? Let's dive in. It was the moment that shook the internet. 1 year ago, Diana Taurasi stared into the camera and delivered a now iconic warning to Caitlin Clark. Reality is coming. Remember that?
What will the league have in store for them when they get there?
Look, SVP, reality is coming.
Okay.
You know, there's levels to this thing, and that's just life. We all went through it.
Of course.
And you see it on the NBA side, and you're going to see it on this side, where, you know, you look superhuman playing against 18-year-olds, but you're going to come with some grown women that have been playing professional basketball for a long time.
Fast forward to this year, And let's just say Diana's words didn't quite hold up. Caitlin's response? A sly smirk, a slight nod, and a confident smile. The vibe was electric, sharp, playful, and full of wit. But don't be fooled, it was also a statement.
Congrats on your retirement, D.
Thank you.
And congrats
now,
you.
Unfortunately, reality is coming to me now.
What's your big plans? What are you going to do?
You know, I keep telling Sue I thought I was going to have all this time to do all these things. I'm more busy now. So if I give you any advice, play as long as possible.
We'll see. We'll get to 10 years. Then we'll think about it.
It's 10 years.
For Diana Taurasi, sharing the court with Caitlin Clark wasn't just another game. It was a moment for the ages. Looking back on their first matchup in Phoenix, Taurasi didn't mince words about the atmosphere. It felt like the last game that was ever going to be played. The crowd was electric, the hype was real, and it wasn't just about basketball. It was about seeing a torch being passed right before our eyes, she shared. Diana spoke with deep respect, reflecting on how surreal it was to finally face the players she'd been watching dominate college basketball for years.
What was it like for you two to play against each other?
It was amazing. You know, I've been following Caitlin for so long and been watching her college career just in awe, and to be on the court and, you know, the first game was in Phoenix and it felt like the last game that was ever going to be played. There was such anticipation. The crowd was going crazy. All the people that came out to see Caitlin and you know, our teams play against each other. It really was an amazing moment. And you talked about how, you know, if you could play against anyone that is this new generation. So I got to cross paths with Caitlin, at least for a couple games. And to me, that meant a lot, you know?
Caitlin's perspective, just as classy, but with her signature edge. She remembered that Phoenix game too. Except for her, it was personal. We were down by like 10 or 15 and came all the way back to win, she recalled, pride clear in her voice. That comeback wasn't just another line on the scoreboard, it was a defining moment for her and her team. Battling against a legend like Taurasi and coming out victorious? That's the kind of experience that builds confidence, and Caitlin made sure everyone knew it.
And what it was like to play against D.
Well, I was saying, like, that game in Phoenix, because we only played in Phoenix one time, and it was before Olympic break. Obviously, we had All-Star there too, but it was a great game. Honestly, I'm pretty sure we were down like 10 or 15 and came all the way back and won. That was like our first like win versus a team that was above 500. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Beneath all the fierce competition, there was a deep mutual respect. The moment transcended being just another game. It became a clash of eras, unfolding right before our eyes. While Caitlin and Diana might be at different points in their careers, the impact they're both having, that's something that will last forever. As they laughed and joked about the experience, it was clear. This wasn't just playful banter, it was basketball's past and future coming together in perfect harmony.
Caitlin, how excited are you for this next WNBA season? New head coach and Stephanie White. You added Natasha Howard, who Sue knows really well, DeWanna Bonner, which I know really well, Sophie Cunningham. I mean, it seems like, you know, from the outside, this roster's ready to compete now, which is easy for us to say. We know there's a process to get there, but like when you see that and you see those names come in, what does that make you feel like?
Caitlin Clark is heading into the new WNBA season with more than just momentum. She's bringing the heat. When talking about her revamped roster, her excitement was impossible to miss. With new head coach Stephanie White, seasoned veterans like Natasha Howard and DeWanna Bonner, sharpshooters like Sophie Cunningham, and defensive powerhouses like Sydney Colson and Brianna Turner, Caitlin knows the talent on her team. But she's also aware of the challenges ahead. With 7 new players and a tight timeline to build chemistry, Caitlin's already in full figure-it-out mode, and she's ready to tackle it head-on.
Oh, well, I mean, obviously on paper we have a really good team, but, you know, you only have, we start training camp, I think, on the 27th, and then, like, we have a back-to-back of preseason games on May 3rd and May 4th. So it's like, you have a very short amount of time to put that together, and 7 new pieces, and whether we carry 11 or 12, like, more than half of our roster, like, that's, you know, that's a hard thing within itself, but we should be pretty good. And like, I'm excited about it. I think what we needed was, you know, we added a lot more experience. Like in the playoffs, we just didn't have that. We were a young group.
And it's not just her mental game that's been getting stronger. Her physical game has leveled up too. When asked about that viral off-season photo where her arms looked noticeably more defined, Caitlin couldn't help but laugh.
And there was the viral picture that went around showing off your guns. Everyone's wondering, have you been hitting the weight room? Was it the camera angle? What happened there?
Like, how did you do that? I've been trying to do that for 20 years.
AI is getting out of control. Come on.
Caitlin Clark wasn't just hitting the weight room to look good in a photo. She was preparing to become an even more dominant force on the court. Every hour spent in the gym was about strengthening her body to match her fierce mentality. It wasn't just about bulking up. It was about becoming more powerful, more relentless, and untouchable when the game was on the line. But Caitlin didn't stop at physical strength. She refined her entire skill set. She focused on adding a floater to her arsenal, powering through contact at the rim, and mastering the mid-range game. This wasn't casual training. It was a deliberate plan to evolve into an unguardable offensive weapon. Caitlin isn't just preparing to keep up with the competition, she's training to take over. Every move, every shot, was with the intention of dominating in ways we've never seen before.
I don't know what the big deal is about the fact that Caitlin is getting a lot of love. She deserves that, and she's helped change this game just as a lot of other players have. But it is what it is, and I think that we are all benefiting from the effects that she's had on the game, and I just appreciate the way she shows up.
It's not every day in women's basketball that a Hall of Famer steps onto a podcast and delivers more truth than a finals post-game interview. But that's exactly what NaLyssa Leslie did when she recently came to Caitlin Clark's defense. What followed was nothing short of a masterclass in grace, perspective, and yes, a subtle but powerful takedown of Angel Reese on her very own show. Thousands were tuned in, and Reese got an up-close look at what will likely go down as one of the most graceful clapbacks in podcast history.
Going into my season 2, what's some advice that you would give for me?
Season 2, I can't wait to work with you some more. The biggest advice I have for you is going to be how you shoot your layups, period.
While the internet has been blowing up over the Clark versus Reese drama, with fans treating it like a Marvel-style rivalry, NaLyssa Leslie stepped in and played a whole different game. She didn't take sides. She raised the level of the conversation. One day, she's praising Caitlin Clark for her influence on the league. The next, she's offering Angel Reese the kind of mentorship you won't find in any practice session. It wasn't about rivalry, it was about growth. And let's face it, someone had to say it.
But she literally got called out for missing layups. I mean, on her own damn show.
Let's rewind for a second. For months, it's felt like Caitlin Clark couldn't catch a breath without some WNBA veteran tossing a passive-aggressive remark or shooting her a side-eye. Between jealousy-fueled tweets and literal body checks on the court, it was obvious some in the league weren't exactly rolling out the welcome mat. So when NaLyssa Leslie, one of the WNBA's original legends, stepped in and said, "Actually, Caitlin's doing everything right," it landed like a buzzer-beater game winner.
You want to see more WNBA people saying this, and it's just so obvious.
This wasn't just any random take. This was NaLyssa Leslie, one of the architects of the WNBA, a pioneer who threw down dunks before they were the norm, and someone who understands firsthand what it means to elevate a league. So when she says Caitlin Clark is the real deal, the basketball world pays attention.
We have to understand that when one player eats, we all eat. And as we all get more opportunities, it just opens it up for everyone else. And I think Caitlin has said that even herself in certain interviews. And I love that. I love that she's not the player who's like, it's all about her. It's not. She's giving love and homage to those of us that have come before her. She shares the wealth with her teammates, and she doesn't have to do that. So I just don't, again, I don't know what the big deal is about the fact that Caitlin is getting a lot of love. She deserves that, and she's helped change this game.
NaLyssa didn't just say Caitlin Clark was talented. She emphasized the how, not just the numbers. She pointed to Clark's humility, her genuine appreciation for the trailblazers who paved the way. In a league where some hacked like they invented the crossover, Clark's deep respect for the game's history stood out, and NaLyssa made sure everyone heard it. Her message was clear. Are you even paying attention? While some gripe about screen time, Caitlin is out here honoring the pioneers who built the stage.
Listen, she's a competitor. She's a trash talker. She makes players around her better. She's exciting to watch. And quite frankly, I've missed seeing her. Being at Unrivaled, she was there. Like, I've missed seeing her play. So I really look forward to seeing her back out there. But as I do all of the WNBA players, like, we are really watching a very exciting level of basketball.
But let's get to the real moment, the game-changing pivot that turned heads. Lisa Leslie didn't just defend from a distance. She stepped right into the conversation, face-to-face with Angel Reese on her own podcast, a space where Reese controlled the mic and the final cut. Leslie didn't hold back. She went full truth-teller mode, looked Reese straight in the eye, and called out the glaring issue, those missed layups.
The biggest advice I have for you is going to be how you shoot your layups, period. Like, we're going to fix that.
Yeah.
That's fixable for you. And I think that's probably the biggest. I think your shot from the outside is improving. I love that your ball handling is good. Your defense is improved.
Let's take a moment to appreciate the setup. You bring a legend onto your show, expecting some nostalgia, a few laughs, maybe a feel-good girl power conversation. Instead, your struggles at the rim get put on blast for thousands to hear. It wasn't harsh, it wasn't petty, it was raw honesty. And truthfully, it was the kind of tough love coaching moment Reese might not get anywhere else.
Where she literally needs to put up like 300 shots a day. And I'm not kidding. Like 200 or 300 shots a day, and that's missed layups. She's 6'3" or 6'4", can't hit a layup to save her life. And literal videos have went mega viral of just her missing layups in games.
Lisa didn't tear Reese down. She built her up. That's what makes Leslie such a force. She didn't humiliate Angel. She challenged her, the way a Hall of Famer would take a struggling rookie aside and say, here's what needs to change if you want to be great.
You got to go out there and prove yourselves. And listen, are we going to get upset about 5, 6, 10 games less on television or not? I don't think we should. We have access to find these games now in a way that we never had before, and we have to appreciate that, and all these platforms that support the W.
Lisa understands something many overlook. When the stars rise, everyone wins. And Caitlin Clark? She's not just rising, she's skyrocketing. Leslie made it clear that Clark's spotlight isn't a threat to veterans, it's a rising tide. More attention on the league means bigger paychecks, packed arenas, and a future where both rookies and veterans get what they're worth. She didn't shy away from the controversy around Clark's screen time. She tackled it head on.
Stephen A. Smith had a very interesting discourse with Fee recently over the number of games the Fever broadcasted this season compared to other teams who have also got stars on them. So curious what you make of W's decision to lean into highlighting its stars.
While players like Reese and others grumbled about how often Clark's team gets the national spotlight, Lisa Leslie broke it down like a professor. When one of us eats, we all eat. In other words, instead of complaining about TV time, they should be thanking Clark for bringing more eyes and more opportunity to the league.
I think it's all about money, marketing, and we cannot deny what Caitlin Clark has done for the women's game. I'm not going to act like it's something that we don't see. She's had a huge effect, call it the Caitlin Clark effect. Yes, have we ever had teams have to get into larger arenas to play against a team? No, we have not. So if we have more eyeballs on the game and Caitlin Clark brings that, why would we feel some kind of way because she has more television games?
Remember when some players, and even ESPN, tried to downplay Caitlin Clark's dominance at Iowa just because she didn't win a national title?
I'm curious, where would you rank her amongst all-time college players in your opinion?
Ooh, that's tough because you got to win one. I feel like that college is one of those spaces where you got to win one for them to even have your name in the conversation. And it took me 3 years to win mine, so it's hard.
Well, Lisa Leslie wasn't having any of that either. She shut it down, plain and simple.
Curious if you think winning an NCAA championship is needed for that eventual GOAT conversation, greatest of all time status.
Absolutely not. I didn't win an NCAA championship. I was National Player of the Year. I won all of the individual awards, but sometimes, you know, it's very hard to win a national championship, regardless of how much people talk about it, like, oh, you have to have it. it is one of the hardest things to do in a tournament where you have so many games and you're trying to get there. So yeah, shout out to all of the players who were able to win national championships, but it doesn't make a player who didn't win a national championship any less of an amazing individual player. And
Then came the mic drop moment. Lisa Leslie said, "Clark deserves this, all of it. The attention, the endorsements, the hype, because she's changing the game." And when those words come from someone who changed the game herself, it's not just praise, it's a passing of the torch.
hey, listen, Caitlin, I am so thankful for her. I'm thankful for all of these women and where this game is, and we have to step back and see the big picture and how it's impacting all of us.
So what did we witness? It wasn't just a defense of Caitlin Clark or a critique of Angel Reese. It was a lesson in leadership from one of the game's all-time greats. Lisa Leslie showed us how it's done. You lift others up, you correct when necessary, and most importantly, you speak the truth, even when it's uncomfortable and even when it's on someone else's mic. Because at the end of the day, Lisa Leslie isn't here to play favorites. She's here to elevate the game. And Caitlin Clark? She's proving every day that she's not just a media sensation, she's the future Lisa Leslie's been waiting for.
Caitlin Clark, she declined an invitation to participate in a special challenge during NBA All-Star Weekend next month. That's what Shams reported on Wednesday. Now, Clark's representatives, they expressed her desire to have her first three-point contest be at the WNBA All-Star in Indianapolis this summer. Shanae, I'm not mad at it. What do you make of this decision?
Look, I not only respect it, I absolutely wholeheartedly support.
Well, it's official, you guys. Caitlin Clark is not competing in the three-point contest at NBA All-Star.
What happens when the biggest star in women's basketball says no to the NBA? Caitlin Clark, a record-breaking force and trailblazer on the court, just did exactly that. In a move that's sparking controversy and shaking up sports media, Clark turned down an invitation to join the NBA's three-point contest at All-Star Weekend. Rather than stepping into the spotlight as the NBA's special attraction, she's making a bold statement about where true recognition belongs. Stay tuned as we dive into how this decision is flipping the script and what it means for the future of the WNBA.
Caitlin Clark knows how to use the word that many people struggle all their lives being able to use. Some of us never get it till we're old and just don't care no more. The word, take a guess. Take a guess.
Controversy, debate, and, of course, ESPN's outrage. Caitlin Clark, the beacon of the WNBA's future, has just declined an invitation to participate in the NBA's three-point contest at All-Star Weekend.
Well, it has just been confirmed from Shams that Caitlin Clark will not be competing in the NBA three-point contest. Indiana Fever star Caitlin Clark will not participate in the NBA All-Star Special three-point shootout in San Francisco and wants her first three-point contest to be at WNBA All-Star in Indianapolis this summer. Her representatives at Excel Sports.
Rather than celebrating her choice, the sports media exploded into chaos. Some argue she's simply dodging the competition, while others believe she's boldly championing the WNBA. So what's the true story behind her decision, and why is ESPN so incensed? Stick around because we're unpacking every detail right now. All right, let's jump in. The Caitlin Clark saga has been dominating headlines nonstop. In case you haven't caught wind of it, Caitlin Clark, the undeniable superstar of women's basketball, recently declined an invitation to compete in the NBA's three-point contest during this year's All-Star Weekend. And wow, opinions are flying everywhere. From ESPN to NBA fans and WNBA supporters, everyone is weighing in as the debate continues to heat up.
The momentum that Caitlin Clark has this season, with her being close to being the face of basketball, both men's and women's this year, I just thought it was the perfect stage. And then obviously, you know, the possibility of Steph Curry and Klay Thompson teaming up once again back in Golden State and doing that home reunion thing, and then having Sabrina and Caitlin. To me, it just sounded like so much fun, and it would definitely bring a little spark to NBA All-Star that NBA All-Star, unfortunately, hasn't.
Let's be honest. Caitlin Clark is the biggest name in women's basketball right now. She's more than just a player. she's a phenomenon. Every time she steps onto the court, she shatters records, fills arenas, and pulls in huge TV audiences. So when she decided to pass on the NBA's invitation, it wasn't just a scheduling conflict, it was a powerful statement, one that clearly caught ESPN and many sports analysts off guard. So what prompted her to make this call? Is she intimidated by the competition? Did she miscalculate? Or is she strategically setting the stage for the future, making a power move that still has many scratching their heads?
Is another testament to where she is in the hierarchy of the sports food chain and, you know, the ladder of power and influence. Because Caitlin Clark is Steph Curry and LeBron James. Like, she's, you know, there's no difference. A great philosopher once said there's levels to this. She's on that.
Here's the reality about Caitlin Clark. She knows exactly what she's worth. She's not just some player thrilled to get an invite to a high-profile event. She understands that wherever she goes, the cameras roll, the money flows, and the fans rally. So when the opportunity to participate in an NBA event came along, she didn't jump at it like a rookie trying to prove herself. Instead, she made it clear, "Thanks, but I'll pass. I'll host my first three-point contest on my own terms, in my own league."
You see Caitlin Clark using her power to benefit the WNBA, saying, not that she'd never do anything with the NBA, but that she's not going to do it this time because the first time should be with the WNBA in front of the Fever fans.
And that's exactly what's setting off a firestorm of reactions. For years, women's basketball players have been fighting tooth and nail for recognition, respect, and financial support. The WNBA has long been cast in the shadow of the NBA, and whenever a female athlete earns a smidgen of mainstream acclaim, there's this lingering expectation that she should be grateful for even the smallest scraps of attention from the men's league. But Caitlin Clark isn't subscribing to that narrative, she's rewriting it. She made it abundantly clear that she wants her inaugural three-point contest to take place at the WNBA All-Star Game, right in front of her hometown fans in Indiana. And let's be real, that's a savvy move. Why settle for being the NBA's special guest when she can be the headliner of her own show? Why help prop up the NBA's All-Star Weekend ratings when she can shine the spotlight on the WNBA instead? Of course, not everyone is on board with her decision. The moment she turned down the offer, sports analysts went into overdrive. ESPN pundits began to debate whether she was making a grave error, questioning her judgment, while the usual skeptics claimed she was merely dodging competition. Dodging competition? Come on. Caitlin Clark has never shied away from a challenge. She's been demolishing defenses and shattering records her entire career. If she really wanted to join the NBA's three-point contest, she'd be more than capable of holding her own. But that's precisely the point. She refused because she knows her worth, and she refuses to let others call the shots for her. Stephen A. Smith, as per usual, had a lot to say on the matter. For once, he actually backed Clark's decision, though not without throwing in some of his trademark commentary. He noted that last year's WNBA All-Star Game smashed records by drawing in 3.4 million viewers, while the NBA's All-Star Game struggled to hit numbers anywhere near its former glory. The NBA's All-Star Weekend has been losing its luster, no secret there, and it's obvious they were banking on Caitlin Clark to give them a ratings boost. Let's break that down for a moment. The NBA isn't exactly at its prime during All-Star Weekend. The dunk contest has lost its charm, and even the All-Star Game itself is treated more like a casual exhibition than a true contest. Viewership has been on a steady decline, and the overall energy just isn't what it used to be. So when Caitlin Clark enters the picture, a player who's been single-handedly driving TV ratings through the roof and filling arenas, it's clear the NBA saw a golden opportunity. And frankly, from their standpoint, it made total sense. Imagine the buzz. Caitlin Clark going head-to-head with the NBA's best in a three-point contest. The intrigue alone would pull in millions of viewers, but that's exactly why she declined. She recognized that she was being positioned merely as a ratings tool, and she wasn't about to let that happen. Let's not kid ourselves. If she had accepted, the aftermath would have been just as contentious, albeit for different reasons. A win might have been dismissed as merely a shooting contest, not genuine competition. A loss would have fueled claims that the WNBA just can't compare to the NBA. There was no scenario in which she could emerge unscathed in that setup. Instead, she delivered a bold message. The WNBA matters. She's not a novelty act or a side attraction for the NBA's All-Star Weekend. She's the star of her own league. This move might just be one of the most significant power plays we've seen from a women's basketball player in a long time. It's not about avoiding one contest. It's about transforming the narrative around the WNBA. For too long, critics have argued that women's sports depend on the men's leagues to survive, that without the NBA's support, the WNBA couldn't flourish. But Caitlin Clark is proving that theory wrong. She's driving ticket sales, setting new records, and making women's basketball a must-watch spectacle all on its own. Consider this. Just last year, the WNBA saw a surge in both viewership and merchandise sales. The Indiana Fever, the team Clark plays for, accounted for nearly half of the league's entire broadcast value. Half. That's a staggering figure, and it's all thanks to her influence. She's demonstrating that the WNBA doesn't need to rely on the NBA's leftovers to thrive. It can stand tall with its own stars, its own storylines, and its own dedicated fan base. That's why this decision is so monumental. She's setting a new standard. She's telling the next generation of female athletes, you don't have to latch onto the men's league for validation. You can be the main event in your own right. And the impact is already evident. What began as a decision over a three-point contest has blossomed into a full-blown conversation about the future of women's basketball. That's the magnitude of her influence. So yes, ESPN might be seething, the NBA might feel let down, and some fans might be left scratching their heads. But Caitlin Clark is in complete control of her narrative. She's playing the long game, building something far bigger than a single contest. And honestly, you have to respect that.
Like for real. I feel like I'm like in a little bit of a dream, but it's super dope, super cool. I don't know if I ever seen myself on like this many billboards and pictures, so this is really good. Oh, now it's really real, huh? This is dope. Okay. I gotta get used to 2.5. This is my first time.
Something unexpected went down in Indiana, and it's shaking the WNBA to its core. No big press conferences, no spotlight, no orchestrated moments, just a quiet entrance that has the league scrambling to figure out what's next.
On the court. Bonner! Bangs him home. Bonner, the logo 3, at the shot clock mounting in this game. Bonner makes her career best.
Bonner hits the 3.
Bonner launches over Savali, got the 3.
DeWanna Bonner, two-time WNBA champion, future Hall of Famer, and one of the most respected vets in the game, made her way into Indiana without a hint of drama. No waiting around. And where did she go first? Right to the gym. Her work ethic is impeccable. She is exactly the type of player that the Indiana Fever needed.
Similar to what DB said about the competitive fire you all had, the moment you had in the playoffs last year, all those things. How do you think your competitive fire can mesh with hers?
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what you want. You want your teammates to be just as competitive as you are. So I think training camp's going to be really fun. That's when you're competing live. You know, you're getting after things. Coaches are figuring out what lineups work, what lineups don't. So I think it's more so like the drive of pushing your teammates to get better. And I think that's exactly what she speaks to when she talks about her leadership. Like, that's going to push all of us to get better when you can see a vet like that come in here and want to get better every single day still. And, you know, you're 12 plus whatever they are in their career. That's inspiring. That motivates you to want to be better too, but just exciting.
But waiting for her wasn't a coach, an agent, or a front office exec. It was no other than Caitlin Clark. Clearly the main reason DeWanna joined the team, so she was excited to see her.
Thank you very much. That's what 6'5" would do for you. Pick up. Rebound. Finlay. Futility from 3 for the Sparks. Over there, Finlay comes up with it. Here's Clark and Trent. Leaves it behind for... There's just 1 of 5. They go threes.
Yeah, they do. Nice.
The rookie sensation, the once-in-a-generation talent, the player every team in the league has been scrambling to figure out.
South Carolina players in this game, by the way.
Sure do.
Tiffany Mitchell, Alicia Gray.
South Carolina players in this game, Tiffany Mitchell, Alicia Gray, and the big question lingering? Why? Why would a battle-tested veteran skip the usual welcome parties to hit the gym with a rookie? This wasn't just a workout. This was a message to let everyone in the league know that they are coming prepared for the new upcoming season. And if you think this is just another off-season move, brace yourself for a rude awakening. The Indiana Fever has something big planned up their sleeve. The WNBA is on the verge of a major shift, and the Indiana Fever is right in the middle of it. This season is just getting started, and you won't want to miss a single moment.
What's up, Fever fans? DB here. So happy to be here, so excited. I'll see you guys in May.
No welcome parade, no PR stunt, no fluff. DeWanna Bonner didn't come to Indiana for the media circus. She came for one thing: business. A two-time WNBA champion, a future Hall of Famer, and one of the game's most respected veterans. But instead of basking in the spotlight or making a dramatic entrance, she went straight to the gym.
I'm just happy that I can still be a part of it. I'm happy that I'm still wanted, you know, in different organizations and have the free agency that I had. And I'm coming to probably one of the best fan bases in the world right now, so I'm pretty honored to.
No cameras, no distractions, just pure focus. That's not a casual arrival. That's a message. When a player of Bonner's caliber bypasses the theatrics and heads straight to work, it's clear she's got unfinished business. And here's where it gets even more interesting. Bonner isn't stepping into Indiana as the face of the franchise. She's not here to demand the ball, dominate games, or make a statement. She's taking on a role most superstars would avoid, a supporting piece to an already budding young core.
I'm coming to probably one of the best fan bases in the world right now.
That's almost unheard of in professional basketball, where ego usually collides with team chemistry. But for Bonner, this isn't about status, it's about strategy. She sees something special in this Indiana squad, and she knows exactly how to take it to the next level.
The way they came back the second game, it just makes you excited to, you know, okay, I want to be a part of that. They didn't lay down and quit. They came back and actually try to beat us early, you know, that next game. So it just shows a lot about their character and how hungry they are. And
her first move in a Fever uniform made one thing obvious. She's here to win, and she's not wasting a second. She's linking up with the player poised to redefine the league, Caitlin Clark. This isn't just mentorship, it's about building chemistry, trust, and ensuring Indiana isn't just competitive, but dominant.
Time and his third, currently 5 catchings for second.
Time and again, Bonner's message is simple. Clark doesn't need someone to shape her. She's already built for this moment. That's what makes this move so dangerous for the rest of the WNBA. Because if you thought Bonner was just here to mentor Clark, think again. She's here to partner up, to sharpen her, to elevate her. And if that playoff battle was any sign, these two aren't just going to coexist, they're going to dominate. Let's be real. DeWanna Bonner could have gone anywhere. Teams lined up, contenders made their pitches. She had the leverage to choose a championship-ready roster. But she chose Indiana, a team still finding its stride, a franchise that, just a couple years ago, was an afterthought in the playoff hunt. That's not just a decision, that's a statement. A player of her caliber doesn't make a move like this unless she sees something the rest of the world hasn't caught on to yet.
It's that time. Call this.
You guys, everyone wants me to cry today. No way.
Have you ever witnessed a basketball star tear up over someone else's triumph? Well, A'ja Wilson just did. The WNBA champion was seen in tears, but not for the reasons you'd expect. It's all in response to Caitlin Clark's emotional jersey retirement announcement.
I was like in tears, y'all.
You might be asking, what's all the fuss about? Don't players have their jerseys retired all the time? Well, not like this. Caitlin Clark's retirement ceremony is already setting records before it's even happened. Meanwhile, A'ja Wilson's fans are crying foul, suggesting Iowa orchestrated this to steal the spotlight. But what spotlight? Iowa likely didn't even know when South Carolina planned Wilson's ceremony, especially since she graduated nearly a decade ago. We've got the facts, the timeline, and fan reactions that tell a different story. Let's break down why Wilson's tears are flowing and how Clark is once again changing the game for women's basketball. February 2nd, 2025. Don't forget that date, because it's about to become legendary in women's basketball. 2 players, 2 jersey retirements, but only one is stealing the spotlight like a supernova. Caitlin Clark and A'ja Wilson, both revolutionizing women's basketball in their own ways, are set to have their jerseys retired on the same day. But that's where the comparison ends. Clark's ceremony at Iowa is generating a buzz that's completely overshadowing Wilson's South Carolina event.
Iowa taking on USC and Juju Watkins, nationally televised game, I believe. February 2nd, 2-2, so it's 22. Everything about it lines up.
Let's talk numbers because they're crazy. The cheapest ticket to see Clark's jersey rise to the rafters is over $700, which is the most expensive ticket in women's basketball history. For some perspective, this price tag is even steeper than the cheapest ticket to an NBA Finals game. And if you're aiming for the best seats in the house, you'd better have a thick wallet, with tickets going for over $8,000. Meanwhile, you can catch a seat at Wilson's ceremony for just $25. No, that's not a typo. We're talking about a price difference more than 28 times higher for Clark's event.
But that is a supply and demand thing, especially in today's day and age where there's no such thing as a sellout, right? Where you can go to any event you want as long as you're willing to pay for it because of the secondary ticket market.
Social media is blowing up with reactions. This isn't just about ticket prices. It's a game-changing moment for women's basketball. The demand we're seeing now was unimaginable just a few years ago. Clark's final home game shattered records with tickets reaching $450. But now that feels like pocket change compared to her retirement ceremony. What's unfolding here is Clark reshaping the entire landscape of women's basketball. She's not just rewriting the record books on the court, she's breaking barriers off it. Clark has become a cultural icon, drawing in fans who might have never tuned into a women's basketball game before.
I'm leading scorer in women's college basketball.
But wait, there's more. This story is far from over. What does Wilson and her team have to say about this, you may ask?
One of the sentiments that was expressed was, oh, it's the same day as A'ja Wilson's. How could you do it? First of all, I remember them announcing A'ja Wilson was getting her jersey retired, but I didn't remember the date or anything. When the Clark news broke, I didn't think about A'ja Wilson. And again, as is the case with Caitlin Clark, this only is going to bring more attention to A'ja Wilson's jersey retirement.
As ticket prices for Clark's ceremony soared, another kind of inflation was taking over: online outrage. A'ja Wilson's fans aren't just upset, they're convinced a conspiracy is at play. But what if the real story is even more explosive than they think? The social media storm ignited with Wilson's supporters crying foul over the timing of Clark's jersey retirement. One fan didn't hold back, tweeting, "Why would y'all retire her jersey on the same day as A'ja Wilson? Are y'all stupid?" This sentiment echoed across social media, with Wilson's fan base feeling like their star was being overshadowed by the Clark phenomenon. But here's where it gets interesting. The timeline of these announcements tells a different story. Iowa didn't just pull Clark's jersey retirement out of thin air. They revealed their plans back on April 11th, 2024, right after the NCAA championship game.
And yes, Clark did get a standing ovation when Iowa's athletics director announced that the university will retire her number 22 jersey.
That number holds a lot of weight, far beyond my name, and I guess I'm just really grateful, and it'll be a special day when that happens for sure. Thank you. It's been very special, and this place will always be home to me.
South Carolina didn't unveil their plans for Wilson's jersey retirement until October 2024. 6 months later, folks. Wilson's fans are saying they're not Clark fans, so why should they care about Iowa stealing the spotlight with their announcement? Why can't both players be honored on the same day?
First of all, there's nothing wrong with two schools retiring respective jerseys on the same day. But secondly, if you wanted the focus to be on A'ja Wilson, she'll probably get more attention as the second, most recognized jersey retirement of that day than she would have if she had the stage all to herself on that.
So why are Wilson's fans so certain that Iowa is trying to steal South Carolina's thunder? It all boils down to the meteoric rise of Clark's popularity. Iowa's athletic director, Beth Gutz, put it bluntly, Clark's accomplishments have made a lasting impact on the university and on women's basketball. They weren't responding to Wilson's announcement. They were celebrating their own superstar. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. Why did it take South Carolina so long to honor Wilson? One fan pointed out the obvious. Why did it take a decade for South Carolina to retire A'ja's number? How is that Iowa's problem? It's a fair question. Wilson graduated in 2018, yet it's taken until 2025 for her alma mater to retire her jersey. That's not on Iowa, that's on South Carolina.
And South Carolina waited years and years to retire A'ja's jersey.
The conspiracy theories are running wild, with some of Wilson's supporters convinced that Iowa deliberately picked this date to overshadow A'ja's moment. But let's think this through. Iowa chose a date that aligns with a high-profile game against USC, featuring rising star Juju Watkins, which was already set to be nationally televised. Plus, Clark's jersey has been hanging in Carver Hawkeye Arena for months. Everyone knew it was coming. How could Iowa possibly know when A'ja's retirement ceremony was planned? No one even knew about it until Clark made her announcement. This isn't about stealing anyone's spotlight. It's about maximizing exposure for women's basketball as a whole.
And then there was, Iowa is rushing this. They're rushing, or everything is rushed with Caitlin Clark. No, she just did things faster and garnered more attention and more notoriety and celebrity and celebration and popularity.
Here's what's hilarious. Some fans are actually asking for Wilson to move her date. One tweet put it bluntly, "Tell Aja to move her date." Then the face of the WNBA is retiring hers. Show some respect. It's a stark reminder of how quickly the landscape of women's basketball is evolving. So what's really happening here? Is this about disrespect? Or is it simply a changing of the guard in women's basketball? The facts don't back up the conspiracy theories. Iowa's plans were in place long before Wilson's announcement, and they're just capitalizing on Clark's massive popularity. But here's the twist. There might be more to Aga's reaction than just the jersey retirement itself. Is this truly about the ceremony, or could it be a deeper feeling of jealousy?